passionate leader. Because leadership without passion is just a title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an IV gone to a firefighter. It's on island urgent. Transmit a second aloft.
Ask yourself this. What do you do when the department you've given your best to forgets what respect looks like? When effort, loyalty, and preparation get met with silence, and the recognition you've earned never comes. That's a place old man Copper knows all too well. He put in for his spot, prepped for it, did everything right, and still watched it pass him by. That moment doesn't just sting. It tested who you are and what you stand for. In part 2, we talk about the betrayal, the gut punch of a missed opportunity, and how we turned it into something meaningful. The Old Man Copper brand, a brand built on pride, craftsmanship, and consistency. Because sometimes the hardest hits are what forge the strongest leaders. Let's get back to our conversation, part 2, with Christian Schuele. Living through some of the leadership turnover that you had to after a major line of duty incident, how did you keep yourself from falling into the shutdown and resist change mentality and kind of grab the bull by the horns a little bit?
What could you be a little more specific? Do you mean when I went from, say, being on the line to
Yeah,
inspections? Mm.
that's kind of where. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. That was really rough. Because I didn't really make the choice on my own, if you know what I mean. My
Mm,
body made it for
sure.
me. I had some guys that were in my corner that allowed me to get into that position. There's a lot that went on. I don't know, how much time we got. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
we are here as long as you feel like sitting and talking. How does that sound?
okay, well, you talk about leadership. So you and I talked about going into when I went into that administrative position,
Mm,
and uh, it's kind of I actually to this day don't exactly understand what happened, but I was going for some chief's position at the same time for health and safety. Because that was all between my fitness stuff, my training stuff, even working with the Pinellas County the CISM team, all that stuff. I was really slotting myself for that health and safety position, and it didn't go my way, and it hit, and then I got into the into the administrative training position, and that really wasn't working out. And I think that, like all of us, it's the job is damage over time, at least emotionally. For
mm-hmm.
me, it was never really, I think there was maybe one incident that I can remember that really shook me up, or maybe actually two. And they weren't gory. They were just emotionally destroying me. But, I ended up when I was, doing the administrative position, I hit a really deep depression, and never, I'm not saying I never had substance abuse issues, but I got, I guess, so bad um, with isolation, even change of behavior at work.
Mm,
Um, uh, just my performance lacked in that position, and the fellas, the training chief, and then the three guys that were the shift training lieutenants, and I was over them. They all got together and showed up at my house here and did kind of an intervention with me. And
mm-hmm.
of course, I bucked it off, but I ended up going. So I ended up at the Center of Excellence in Maryland, which is
Awesome. Okay.
the 30-day in-house treatment program for depression, and went up in that. That was really tough. Um, I think I was not there for substance abuse. I was there for mental health, and
Mm-hmm.
but I got done with that, and that's a whole nother fucking story. Good Lord. But got back um to the state, or to the department, and was just kind of done. And
Yeah. Yep.
they offered me actually, just to make that position into, well, they didn't want to title it assistant chief, but they were going to make me into an admin position, which my pay was going to go up, take home car and all that stuff. But I was so jaded, and still, I went through that 30-day and came out just kind of full of anger,
Mm.
and I was not happy that I got sent out there. I mean, I I enjoyed the time there, and I made some good friends, but that kind of started I came back and they offered it, and I pretty much told them to go fuck themselves, which was probably not a good idea, you know, you know, and and then it ended up just my career after I came back from that was, as far as, and this is from my perspective. Okay. I'm sure
Sure,
there's
of
guys,
course.
that from the
Yeah, yeah.
outside and from other things who will look at it differently, but I'm just speaking from my perspective. And, so I ended up, bouncing around, floating back on the line. Then my body started falling apart,
Mm.
and, it was very tough for me. And,
Yeah.
it's like all that planning that I spoke about earlier and all the dreams I had, just kind of fell apart. And I think one thing I'd want people to know, at least, yourself in administration, if you have someone with a mental health problem like that, and trust me, I've recovered, and I did recover while I was there. Well, maybe not. That's a long story, but the I think too many people place this badge of honor on their chest of saying, well, oh, well, I'm gonna, I see you struggling, which is great. I'm gonna go talk
Mm.
to him, which is great. We're gonna get him some help, which is great. Okay, you're doing all the right things, but then when you come back, as I did, and you're not really well, you know,
Yep.
and you get treated like a pariah.
Ugh.
And in my opinion, and this is something people have to understand, when you've identified all those things, and the guy's come back and he's still not well, the biggest fucking thing that guy needs is support. He doesn't mean you got to kiss the guy's ass. Doesn't mean that no matter what he asks
Mm.
for, he's going to get. But give him what he needs. Check on him. Make his emotional, or at least some of that person, make him somewhat of a priority. I don't know how that's going to manifest, but to turn your back on him and,
Mhm.
um, to just kind of treat him, I felt like they turned their back on me, especially as soon as I turned down that job. When I got back, it was like, okay, I was, immediately a troublemaker from the fire chief. Everything I tried to do was just was complete shit. And this is again the way I saw it. And, you know, eh, that would have been a time of understanding,
Dude, without a doubt. Without a
you
fucking
know?
doubt.
Yeah. And it wasn't. And I had a really rough time. And
It,
yep.
I think what really frustrates me the most is trying to see my I interviewed one of my earlier guests that I've had on the show. His name's Kevin McNeil. He kind of went through the same thing
Yeah.
where he needed help. He was part of he's in the police side. He did the volunteer fire thing and the full-time police
Okay.
thing. He did the concept of, the peer support group. He reached out and needed help, and they, oh yeah, well, we're here for you, and then, when he goes and he comes back, his agency basically fucking left him for
Yeah.
dead. And I think what really actually really infuriates me right now is to hear that, that this clearly, I mean, I've had two guests on now that have talked
Yep.
about this, um, that have had problems. And if there's anything that any of our listeners can get out of this, is that this clearly is a problem. We can walk down Main Street and beat the drum that we want to be there for each other, and we have all these things. But if you're being there is being there, and um, Dude, I'm sorry that you had to go through that fucking horse shit because that really pisses me off, man.
It was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. You know, the big thing is, man, everybody's got this great plan for, we do training on it, right?
Hmm.
Identifying somebody, their behaviors,
Right.
isolation, talks of, self-harm, all that stuff. And then we finally have the talk, and then you want to be a confidant of that person, and you're a peer mentor, and you're all
Hmm.
these things. And then you finally get them to have the opportunity to go to some help. And great, we've got all these check boxes. Everybody bangs their chest, which again, it's fantastic. Thank you for recognizing all that stuff. But I don't know of anyone that has a plan for when they come back. Let's say when they come back
Mm.
and they're not better,
Right.
so you have to have a contingency plan. And I'm going to use those words. Sit down, have a meeting about that person, but make that person feel valued.
Amen.
And maybe, those guys, and when they offered me the job, that I had been back for freaking 24 hours, and I'm meeting with the chief, and they're offering me that job, which was, basically, hey, you're still staying in that position, but we're going to make you admin. We're going to make you, uh, what is that? You're not union, you're, at will employee, but you're going to
Okay.
get your
Yep.
own car. You're going to do all that stuff. You're going to be on the staff and all that stuff. Maybe they should have freaking realized that, wow, this guy's just been through some real shit. And maybe we ought to just take a deep breath, give him a little bit of time, stay in touch with him, let him know we value him, and maybe reoffer the job or figure out exactly what's going on. But
Yeah.
then, I think, and I can't blame people. They get afraid.
Of course.
Yeah. You come back and they're afraid to say the wrong thing, to do the wrong thing. They feel hogtied.
Mm.
So you end up, you're a leper. And,
Yeah. It's a good way to put it. Yep.
but like if I would have come back and been like, hey, I'm doing great, I'm fantastic, all this shit, would have been a different thing. But, I was very angry, and I still to
Rightfully
this
so.
day. What's that?
I said rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, do you think? I mean, how much of you sort of putting all your eggs in the basket for the position you didn't get played into it? Was that a catalyst, or is that just sort of a contributing factor?
Yeah. It was that one. Well, you talking about the one I went, the health and safety that I didn't get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I was very upset about that. Because we had, I think I told you earlier, I swing the axe, and I set myself up, and I do things over years. I don't,
Mm,
and I get myself, into the things that I need to get into. So at least when I get to that position, I haven't crammed everything together in a freaking sandwich and then just ate a bunch
mm-hmm.
of shit and then didn't know what I was doing. So the health and safety, for at least for me, the way I see this again, was a perfect fit. But then we had I think three chiefs positions open at the time, and we had like 12 guys go in. And what chapped my ass was, of the 12, I think only three of us had really spent the time and were qualified, at least on paper.
Yep.
I mean, because a lot of guys, they just, oh, well, I'm going to go for it. But there was only three of us of those 12 that were actually qualified on paper. And then I had spent, at that point in time, a good 14 years really working hard because that's a position that I
Yeah.
saw myself in. And, they, they did they basically gave it to a guy that just didn't really want it. And that
Mm,
guy came up with me afterwards and actually apologized for getting it. And,
okay.
yeah, but it was like, but what am I going to say? Hey, brother, good for you. I love you. I'm glad you got
Yeah.
it. I will tell you that the fella that got the job, fantastic guy, and he knocked it out of the fucking park.
Sure.
He knocked it. He did. Javon, he knocked it out of the freaking park. He killed it. He's a good friend of mine, but he freaking killed it.
So I similar boat as to that. I my department made up of 2 full-timers, myself and the fire chief's position.
Yeah.
And the chief at the time, we're talking generational firefighter, generational fire chief, on
Sure.
for years. And me, I'm like, well, if all I really felt that I had to do was, get some classes,
Mhm.
go on, and then once they sunset, then it's really one of those, oh, it makes sense. JP's the next guy. He's already full time. It's a lateral move, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So some things happened within our department. He went and, got himself jammed up. We go and find ourselves with our chief on suspension for the whole thing. Took over a year for it to happen. An assistant chief takes over in the interim. We were in limbo. They realized that, they didn't have anything else previous to the chief, so they didn't feel comfortable letting him go, so they kept him. And then
Yeah.
he comes back for 3 months. Long story short, he goes back out on suspension again, finally decides, enough is enough, and he leaves involuntarily, I think it was the phrase that they used.
I see.
So it comes down to, they finally decide they're going to hire a chief. I'm actively working on getting my degree, but I didn't have it at the time because I went for, if there's any regret that I have was of anything in my career, is not getting my degree in something fire service related sooner.
Sure.
But I mean, when I was 18, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that one existed until, later on in my career,
Of
blah, blah,
course.
blah.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the job gets posted, and, I spent my entire career with Brookline really doing what I could, that I felt was positioning myself to be in the best position possible for this Chiefs vacancy if and when it finally came up. Finally, it comes up, in 3 in-house candidates put in for it, myself and another deputy put in for it, a captain puts in for it, and then, a slew of out-of-house people, because we're on the Massachusetts border. So we get a lot of candidates who, Massachusetts has a really strict age out requirement. So I think at 65 or 62, you have to leave the line. And then
I
I
see.
think at 65, you actually have to be completely out of the service, no matter whether it be a volunteer or, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean,
I
I
don't
feel that
either.
there's credibility to it.
I
It,
agree with you
it
on that, brother.
yeah, I mean, and it comes down to, and it ended up being myself, our captain, and an out of house guy.
Yeah.
So at this point, still, cockier than I should have been. I was like, all right, well, captain's not going to jump a deputy. The captain doesn't have any experience running the fire department full
Yeah.
time. They've never done this. So I'm like, well, it's going to be either me or the out of house guy. And then it
Yeah.
comes that, well, now the board that oversees the department is worried because there's the out of house guy who might come in and make, drastic changes to how things are done. And we are our department is very steeped in tradition, if anything.
Sure.
So it ends up, I'm like, oh, so it's not going to be him. Come to find out, they ended up going with our captain, and she has done an amazing things.
Yep.
But to this day, I am sour at the process,
Yeah.
because the day that they made the announcement publicly who was going to be the fire chief was the day that I found out I was no longer a candidate. I will
Enough.
never forgive that department for doing that. I feel that people are deserved a certain level of professional respect, even if it's
Mhm.
hey, it's no longer you, but we need to kind of keep this on the down low.
Yep.
If you trust me to command our brothers and sisters to go into a burning building and come out, or to run a crew inside, then
Yep.
you should be able to trust me to keep my mouth shut when it comes to sensitive stuff around the office. Um, like I said, it's left such a sour taste in my mouth that
I get it.
um, I've hit that wall where I'm like, I work 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. If we get a call at 7:55 in the morning, I am not working any harder to get into the office than I would to be there for 8. And then if one comes in at 4 o'clock, chances are very low that I'm turning my car around and head back into the office. And
I completely
it is what
understand.
it is. And it's fun because I know that they watch my show, and I know they're going to hear what I just had to say. But they're also going to hear me say this: New Hampshire has very nice policies and restrictions as far as what employers can and can't put against their employees from speaking publicly. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I will say one thing in the defense of the department. Like, I told you when I interviewed for the job for the department, for working in the fire department when I was younger, how I knocked it out of the park. I would probably say when I did the interview for this position, for the health and safety position, it was one of the worst performances I had had.
Mm.
So, I mean, there is, I've always looked back at that and said, of course, then the bullshit of me comes out going, well, everything shouldn't just be on the interview because I had this, which is, there's some truth to it. But then at the same
Amen.
time,
Yeah. Yep.
but at the same time, I think if I would have knocked the interview out of the park, uh, I also, I think in the department's defense, and this is truth, maybe I got a little too cocky, even though,
Yeah. Yep.
working at it for a really long time, thought that, you know what, maybe I hate to say it, but looking at it now, maybe thought I deserved it because I had done everything I
Same.
should. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, when you get into that mindset, yeah, maybe that's a kiss of death, and maybe what
Yeah.
happens is,
Yep.
the Lord or, whatever you want to say says, okay, well, we're going to check you because, you need to, you don't deserve shit, you know?
It, dude, and it's so funny. I did. I sort of just kind of cruised through the interview process, and I was like, doesn't matter what the hell I say. Like they
Yeah.
know who and
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot to be said about that. I think people put even not necessarily for higher, positions in the department, but even just cross lateral stuff. I think people put a lot of credit into the fact that your interview boards are going to be like, well, they know me, they know how I am, they know what I'm going to say.
Yep.
So I did not put as much 'cause I've applied for, I think, five total Chiefs positions in the state of New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and I've always been, very close to bridesmaid, but never the bride, except for one, which I can tell you I was very happy I turned it down because it's borderline ancestral with how that town is made up right now. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, you know what, they can have their drama. And honestly, I am not. I will preface by saying I'm not the most religious person in the world, but I
It's
do
okay.
believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And so far, including this current situation, that, um, everything that has happened, every missed opportunity is actually it's a dodged bullet in disguise.
Isn't that the truth?
And it,
Yeah.
it it's disgusting how much it isn't the truth. Because this platform would not have happened if I had gotten that job, because you really cannot be the 5-star gold general of a fire department and be able to spout the shit that I say on social media off, right?
100%, brother.
So,
Yep. 100%.
and but no, dude, this has been a goddamn good conversation.
Yeah.
I do want to if you have a few more minutes, I want to get into where you came up with what you. So let's take the last few minutes here to really pitch Old Man Copper and get to it and kind of tell us where the name where the name came from, what it is, and how everybody can kind of get into the process of getting some.
Yes, sir. First of all, maybe 8 years ago or so, when I was on the job, I always, of course, we can't have beards, so I always had a huge mustache. Spending a ton of money on mustache wax products,
Mm,
and just one day went, I could freaking make this shit. And so, I got on the interwebs and started looking into how to do it, and then figured it out, and then I started making the wax for the guys at the firehouse. And everybody was, I mean, everyone was like, this shit's freaking good. You know what I mean? Now, how much did they really sample from anywhere else? But everybody's like, this is
sure.
dynamite, but
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody loved it, and it was ours, and it was for the fire department. So I just gave it away for free, and so long story short, excuse me, um, about so the name Copper. So when I was at the Center of Excellence for the mental health stuff, everybody, because I have red hair, but not anymore. I mean,
Mm.
I barely have any hair left, but then it's white. You know what I mean? But at the time, I had copper colored hair, and
Okay.
yeah, so and everybody over there at the, I don't know where it came from, but everybody at the facility called me Copper.
Mm.
And so, so okay, well, there's copper. And then, I get out of I retire from the fire department, and I'm looking for some purpose. I'm looking for something to do. And I'm like, fuck it, man, I'll start making some mustache wax
Sure.
again, and what am I going to call it, and one of the guys that I was there with gave me I think they call it a waypoint, but it's like stones stacked on top of each other that are in a certain pattern or a certain way that says, okay, this is the way to go. And there's symbolic behind that, but he had made this for me and he wrote copper on the bottom of it. And I
Mm.
looked over and I'm like, huh, copper would be dynamite, but I'm an old man now, so it was like,
Okay.
yeah, so it was like old man copper. So I came up with old man copper. And then if you look at what it's all about, everything, not all the scents, but um, you know, the scents are supposed to have something to do with the job. So you get the smoke eater one. If you get a chance to smell it, it literally smells like a structure fire. Um,
Oh,
it
okay.
really
Yeah.
does. I mean, dude, I actually had somebody, I had DM me the other day, go, this is freaking nuts. And then, I've got the paramedic one, which is trauma junkie, and that smells like Vicks Vapor Rub. And what the whole idea
Okay.
behind that, yeah, the whole idea behind that is put that shit in your pocket. You're going on a call that smells like shit. Instead of putting Vicks Vapor Rub on, put that in there, but it sells your mustache so nice. So you can smell that
Sure.
very
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
easy goodness all day. Asphalt operator, which is the police one, is leather and cedar. So, I mean, your leather gun belt, maybe a cedar club, something like that. And then I've got
Mm.
mountain pine, which mountain pine and uh coconut beach. So places that I like to go when I'm trying to relax from the job. And
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, man, it really worked out well. I've only really kind of been really really full-time digging at it about 2 months now, and I'm just so blessed at the response that I've had. I mean, brother, I got to meet you, and the blessing of you having, I can't even believe that you would ask me to come on here. It is, it's an honor. Thank you. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
The honor really is all mine, honestly.
well, thank you. But if you're really looking for it, go on Instagram, Old Man Copper. Look on, I've got a website, oldmancopper.com. I've got some hats, got some shirts coming up here soon. Take a visit, man. If you hear this podcast and you DM me, I will give you a code. So or you know what, you DM me, you buy something, I'll give you something for free.
Oh,
So
there you go. I love it.
yeah, you say you saw me here, you tell me, you just DM me, hey, I'm gonna buy this, and tell me what else you want. I'll give you something for free. So there we go. In your face.
Promo code passionate leader. I love it.
Hey, I think I can send that to you, my friend.
I love it. Now, are you one man operation, or do you have people helping you behind the scenes yet?
No, sir. I am literally one guy. I
Really?
do
Now,
everything.
how long does it take? So, if you start making, a batch of a scent, like how long does it take from the time of creation to the time of getting it ready to go out the door for
Well,
customers?
I mean, if we want to go I'll actually, you and I were talking about something that you could use, right? So
Sure.
I've got it's in the mix, but I'll throw it out here now. Um, I'm gonna make this actually freaking it's nuts, man. I don't want to get I'm afraid someone's gonna take it, but it's a joke, but it's not a joke, okay? I'm gonna make a cologne, but a solid cologne called
Ooh,
Taint Nothing.
okay.
Taint Nothing.
Yeah, sirree.
So it's for
Fucking
your
right.
taint, all right? So dude, it's gonna be freaking badass, right? So it's gonna be Old Man Copper's Taint Nothing crotch cologne, and then there's gonna be a sidebar, Old Man Copper's Taint Nothing ruck guard. So it's gonna be,
Okay.
for people that do like rucking and extreme sports and stuff. It's gonna not
Yeah.
allow the chafing, but when I get that stuff, I will send it to you. But that, from stem to stern, I got to get I got to get the stuff design and everything. That's probably going to take me about 3 or 4 weeks. But if you're
Mm,
talking about like today, I've got one mustache wax I didn't mention called stiff upper lip. Keep a stiff upper lip, and that is a very heavy duty, full of pine resin stuff that'll just freaking make your mustache do anything you want. So
yeah.
from the time that it took me to make about 50 1 ounce tins, it takes because you got to melt down all the rosin. It's taken me about 3 hours, but maybe about two. But the batch came out, and I've got to redo it. So it's going to take double the time. But so it's about 2 hours per batch. You know,
That's not
for about
that's I'm you know what, man, I'm not gonna lie. When you said you had something that works, I was like, oh man, I can't freaking wait to I I'm actually honest to God, I'll the one for the medics, man. I'm like, I wonder does it kind of have the same sort of does it work the same as Vicks? Like if I were to put that shit on my chest, would it? So I'm ordering some of that. That's
well,
happening. In the
I
mountain
tell you
pine.
what
I
I'll
don't know
do.
what
You
I'll
don't
use it for, but
You don't have to order shit. I'll get you some stuff. I'll send some to you. If it puts on your chest, shit, I don't know. But I'll tell you, I mean, you seriously, you put it, if you don't have a mustache, you put it on your upper lip. It'll, you can rub it in just like it's like
yeah.
lotion. And your upper lip smells great, man, for a couple of hours. You'll love it. I'll send you
Awesome.
the
Okay.
structure fire one too, dude. You will shit your
Yeah.
pants.
Dude,
Um,
it's fun. I fucking love it. I
dude,
love it.
I had a fella, what is he? He's actually a podcast, the Copper State something podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've that we've collabed a couple of times on Instagram. The two
Have
of
you
us
really?
have.
So he
Yes.
ordered
Yep.
just we didn't even talk, but he ordered some, and he got the smoke eater, and I just text him, hey man, how do you like it? And he's like, he goes, no bullshit, man. I absolutely love it.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so we're gonna actually be collaborating. I don't think I'm gonna be on the podcast, but we're gonna collaborate on some stuff um pretty soon. Yep. But
That's so awesome.
yeah, man.
No, dude, I'm excited. I love off the wall ideas.
Ain't
It
nothing,
is
man.
it's fun. And it's I what I think just blows my mind is that these crazy ideas I know for a fact you probably just sitting around doing nothing and they just popped in your fucking mind, right?
It was actually like, dude, I've been making this shit up. There's a guy on the fire, and it's been for like 10 years I've been talking about taint nothing. Just as a
Yeah,
joke,
yeah.
right? There was taint nothing. I mean, we had a thing called cocoa nut butter, which we were gonna have we were gonna get this butter for your nuts, right? And it was gonna be once you shave, you manscaped, there was gonna be gloss, semi-gloss, and eggshell.
That's awesome.
It was, I mean, fucking dude, I sat there, I had this whole spiel on the Manscaped collection, dude. It was so fucking funny. Um, but yeah, that taint nothing was like at the top of it, man.
No,
Oh
man. Well,
God,
I mean,
dude, it was so
there,
fucking fun.
now that you're retired, what's to say that you can't get that line going though, right? I
Brother,
mean,
I'm here, and thus
there's
here's what, yeah,
yep, everybody needs a good set of, a good old ball bomb after you've done some manscaping, right?
dude, you need some freaking taint nothing and some cocoa nut butter, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I mean, eggshell tests off the charts, brother. Eggshell tests off the charts.
I love it. Well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
First for being a guest on the show and the unwavering support through Instagram. You have helped me really kind of explode on that platform. You've always been, unwaveringly supportive as far as pushing across your platform anything that I put on Instagram and stuff like
It's
that.
all
So
about
I
helping
from
each
the
other,
bottom of my
brother.
heart.
Yep.
Yeah, no, before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to kind of add on or anything, or you think we kind of nailed this thing?
Just want to say thank you, and you've done the same for me on Instagram, and brother, it's really, getting back to the servant leadership, man. You take care of the people that take care of you, and I got your back, and I mean that sincerely. And I'm just truly blessed that you've even taken that we've got a little bit of a friendship going, and I'm really happy about. We've kicked ass, and I really appreciate it. So I'm good to go, brother.
Awesome. Well, folks, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you for spending time with Old Man Copper and myself on the Passionate Leader. And if something today hit home, don't just sit with it, share it and act on it. More importantly, be the kind of leader that somebody else is praying for. And no matter what comes your way, remember this: lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no place for bottom feeders. Until next time, guys, stay safe.